I think the name of the game in our industry especially is you have to just be dynamic. Customers today value experiences, they value moments, like that's what they actually care about. A diamond is forever. So you need to make sure that you can wear it for years and years to come.
Do you think a company should actively working to build legacy in the market?
You have to just create a space for yourself and do something without looking at what other people are doing. Dubai is a pretty easy place to move and it's a pretty dynamic city. We were happy in Belgium. Business was kind of shifting towards this part of the world. So we felt like for our goods that we had, there was more demand coming from the Middle East. To be honest, it was a pretty spontaneous decision. We decided and within 2 months we were here.
Doing D2C as well as B2B.
Yeah, exactly. Fully vertically integrated. It's from mine to market, which is basically getting all the way from rough to getting on a lady's finger.
Gem and jewelry business is one of the oldest in human histories. Mysterious gemstones and beautiful stories of entrepreneurship. Fast forward 2025, the Jewellery Pod is aiming to recreate the legacy by bringing stories of future and present. We are here to unlearn and adapt. And in this series, today's guest is amazing young entrepreneur from Evara Diamonds, who would be sharing his beautiful story of business foundation and how he is finding his way in new market. Welcome, Shashank, on the
Thank you.
Jewellery Pod.
Thanks, Krishna.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
All the way from Antwerp. How Dubai is finding you?
It's very different. It's been a year and a half now since we moved from Belgium. But yeah, it's great. I mean, Dubai is a pretty easy place to move to and it's a pretty dynamic city. So it's good to be here. A lot of energy.
And do you feel that are you late to the party or still a lot to uncover?
I guess everything happens at the right time for everyone. While we were happy in Belgium, it just felt like business was kind of shifting towards this part of the world. So I think when we moved, it was probably the right time for us. But yeah, there's a lot to catch up on for sure.
And being based in a diamond hub, it's a world capital for diamonds. You were born and brought up there, right?
Yeah, I've basically stayed there my whole life. So I was born there. My father was in the industry. So we've basically grown up around diamonds. So probably till I was about like 32, I've stayed there. So only the last year and a half I've been in Dubai. Otherwise, I've been in Belgium.
And how that market is different from this region?
I think Belgium historically has been primarily a rough market, mostly for rough diamonds. You obviously have the polished customers and the jewelry customers around Europe, but Antwerp was known for rough diamonds. That's where what it's famous for. Dubai, I think it's further along the supply chain. I think you're more focused on the jewelry customers and the polished customers. So I guess it's more of a user market, whereas over there was more like a procurement market, if you know what I mean.
And if I may ask, what attracted you to shift your base all the way from Antwerp to Dubai? So not many know that it's not an Antwerp-based company, but you guys actually started in Mumbai.
Probably it's been more than 50 years now. Father was in the business, so it's me and my business partner. So both of our fathers are in the business, not together. And then we decided to join hands maybe like 8 or 10 years ago. And then since then, we've been working together. But so I think with Dubai, the thing was, in Belgium over the last few years, I would say last 5 or 6 years, business was really slowing down. Even the customers around Europe ordering less and less, had less and less demands. Whereas we felt like for our goods that we had, there was more demand coming from the Middle East. So we just felt like it's probably better to be based over here because we're closer to the actual customer. We're not really selling so much in Europe anymore. We're selling more here. So you have to be close to the customer. I mean, that's, I think, the best thing to do. So that's why we decided to move here.
And also, Shashank, in other industries, it's not a common norm to shift your entire base from a country to another country. People usually do that to get benefit of better economies and better scale for better prospects for that matter.
Yeah.
However, this particular region has been a magnet for diamond trade, be it rough or diamonds. This has been a hub for rough as well as polished diamonds. And it's attracting best people from all over the world. Hong Kong, so many Hong Kong companies have moved in here.
Yeah.
So many Antwerp companies have moved in here. Did you had prior understanding of this market, how it operates, or you did some R&D before moving your business over here?
So to be honest, it was a pretty spontaneous decision, to be very honest. It was always in the back of our head, like for let's say a year or so before we moved that, okay, should we move, should we not? Because like I said, a lot of our sales were ultimately happening here.
Okay.
So when we were selling diamonds, we were actually shipping them here. So we kind of had an idea about the market. But to actually move here is a completely different ballgame, right? Because you have to think about the whole logistics part of it as well.
Totally.
So in fact, it was kind of spontaneous. We decided, and within 2 months we were here. So it was a pretty fast shift. And then we're like, we'll figure it out kind of when we're here. But like I said, Dubai, it's a pretty easy place to move, in terms of just um, logistics, them helping you get everything done in the right way. And plus, we had a few family and friends which could also help us with the process. So yeah, it was a pretty spontaneous decision, I would say.
And what has been the nature of the business over here? Charlene, your partner, is
Yeah.
still into rough procurement, and you're taking care of the sales.
Yeah, it's the two of us basically as the two partners of the company. And I would say that the way we're structured is that in terms of the overall strategy of the company, it's of course both of us. So every year we have a meeting at the end of the year to decide how we want to go about it. So that's, I guess, the overall perspective of the company. But if you look on a more day-to-day basis, yeah, he's more on the rough side and I'm more on the polished side. But of course, both of them are still in line with what we want to achieve overall for the brand. So yeah, he does everything in terms of rough procurement, manufacturing, and I do everything from when the polish is ready to making the jewelry and selling either polish loose or selling jewelry.
The company is into both the verticals. You're doing D2C as well as B2B.
Yeah, exactly. So we've tried more and more to kind of be fully vertically integrated. So obviously from mine to market, which is basically getting all the way from rough to getting on lady's finger, also on a man's finger, for any kind of jewelry, we want to go from mine to market as much as we can.
I was going through your very interactive website.
Yeah.
Good job done on
Thank
that
you.
site. It's very interactive. And what kind of customer insights you are able to gather through that? Is your maximum sales happening through that website, or you also go out in person and meet people? I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to
Yeah.
uncover because there's a lot to understand about the company and to know exactly the nature of the business.
Actually, that's a really good point because I guess it was maybe 2-3 years ago when we decided that actually marketing is a super important part of the business. Traditionally, you'd always see that people would have somebody in the accounts, somebody in the inventory management, but nobody really had a specialized team for marketing, or not many people had that. And you see all the other industries, and they're doing that. So we're like, we also need to do that. Mostly the way that people in our industry would, I guess, put themselves out there is by doing trade shows. It's the most common way to do it.
It is.
And we didn't want to really do that because how are we really going to stand out? So basically 3 years ago, we decided to go full on into marketing. We hired someone who's handling the whole marketing division. And yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff online. And I guess the primary method for sales is website and LinkedIn. We have Instagram, we have TikTok, but I guess those are more aesthetic and they look very nice and they help to support the brand. But if you really focus on sales, then I guess the SEO from website and LinkedIn is definitely doing the best for us. We have a lot of people coming to our website. We have a lot of inquiries from our website. LinkedIn, we've made so many connections. So yeah, I think those are the two best tools for us.
What I have had understanding of
Yeah.
companies, and I have my normal interactions are actually they always start with stories. They tell that I'm a 100-year-old company, I'm a
Yeah.
120-year-old company. But I'm a big fan of newness. I'm a big fan of modernity in the business.
Yeah.
And that's the core essence of the Jewellery Pod. If you can let me know what are the 3 things that you identify that should be worked on to be a company fairly new, not in the region, not by foundation, that you should be harping on or you should be actively working on to build your legacy or identity in the market?
I think you definitely have to find some kind of niche for yourself of where you think you can specialize or stand out. I think customer is everything. Your whole business has to be based on your customer. I mean, this is from our own experiences. This is what we follow.
No, of course it has to be.
You have to do business in a way which feels correct. I think those are the 3 most important things. So for us, whenever we're meeting a private client or a B2C client, we never ever try to sell them on us. They've come to us for a reason,
Right.
and they've already seen where we are online and stuff. But we never try to sell them on us because you just want them to feel comfortable. Like whatever advice they ask us or whatever, we try to make them feel comfortable, confident. And in the end, if they are that, then they will buy from us. But we never say that, oh, choose us because we're like this. We don't believe in that. We just want to say things in a correct way and make them feel comfortable. And I think that's the most important thing.
That makes a lot of sense, and I love that. So everyone talk about things to do, but nobody talks about things not to do.
Yeah.
And identifying them is also equally tough task.
Yeah.
Early on, while you were actually setting up your base over here, did you found something really cliche, or that was your pet peeve that That's surely I don't want to do. That's surely I will never put on my Instagram.
Honestly, we've made a lot of mistakes over the course of the years, like everyone, and we've learned from them. I would not say really in Dubai, but let's say my partner and I, we started working together maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, really. So at that time, we were still trying to figure out how to do it, what to do. So we were doing everything together. Like we were both going for the rough, we were both going to sell the polish, but it was not really efficient because you're actually using the time of the day for two people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then slowly after 2 or 3 years, we figured out what our specialities were, and then we kind of figured that out.
I will interrupt you over here,
Yeah.
but that's a traditional norm of our industry.
Yeah,
Every place or every task that involves goods and risk, two people are mandatory.
Yeah, two people are mandatory, and still, like a lot of times when we're buying rough, we'll have two people involved. So my partner will be there with somebody in our team who will join him, but it doesn't necessarily mean me and him have to go, because that's kind of taking away a lot of the other value that we can create. So yeah, I think we were just very inefficient in the beginning, and we were maybe trying to do things which other people were doing. It's normal to do it because you have to have like a base or starting point. But I think now we realize that you have to just create a space for yourself and do something without looking at what other people are doing. Whatever everyone's doing well, of course, you try to take their tips and learnings from that,
Right.
but you have to still be unique to yourself. I think that's probably the biggest learning is that just try to be your own brand or own company.
And what are your action steps now? Like henceforth, market is changing at speed of light, and what do you guys have to think as market would be from like 6 months from now?
It's very hard to predict. Of course, every week we're trying to think of what's going to happen, what are the trends, and we're actually analyzing these things live, all the time. Like any industry, actually, it's not only our industry. There's too many factors that affect it, Like if you just see recently US tariffs, 50% of the diamonds in the world probably go to the US. Now, if it gets hit with a 10% tariff, how is that going to impact us? It's huge. So you have to keep adapting. You have to keep seeing ways of how you can tackle that. But I think the name of the game in our industry especially is you have to just be dynamic in terms of your goods that you keep, in terms of the pricing that you have. So we're following this on a live basis. Like if we feel that we have too much inventory in one thing, for example, we will either reduce the prices to sell them or we'll change the product mix. And if we feel like something is doing really well, we'll start buying more of that. So it's just dynamic. I think that's the thing. You have to be dynamic because there's too many changes that happen. And to be honest, it's very tough to predict. Like nobody knows what's going to happen. So yeah, I think just be dynamic.
And do you agree, Shashank, that also the market is as such, it's very unpredictable, surely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, client is also very unpredictable in this region. Imagine you doing 500,000 business or 1 million business with someone last year. But that's not surety that you would be continuing or increasing business with them. So what has been your learning so far while interacting? Tell me in two cases, one with the end user, private client, and someone with business client.
The jewelry market is not so big. It's actually not really a jewelry market. People are not there buying jewelry so much. It's more to buy loose diamonds, which is not a B2C product.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dubai, there's a lot of B2C transactions that happen. There's so many shops. So actually, the B2C transactions happen over here, whereas they don't happen in Antwerp. It is super unpredictable, B2C over here. You can have a conversation with someone for weeks going through designs. We've got to stages where we've made the render and we've bought the diamonds and somebody said, oh, now we don't want it anymore. But there's nothing you can do, like I said, we don't want to force anyone to buy anything. They have to be comfortable. In the end of the day, it's a big purchase. So it does get complicated, but I think most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, when you're talking to someone, within the first 30 minutes, you kind of know where they're at and what they want. And then it's just about trying to make them feel that confidence that they're buying the right thing. And B2B, I think, is a more planned business because we have our fixed set of customers that we know that every month they have orders for these things. So it's more planned, so we can kind of rely on that. There are, of course, changes. People have some, but I wouldn't say the variation is so much. Like, I know that if I'm selling to someone, let's say, 10 diamonds in a month, I will sell 9 or 10 or 11. B2C is a completely different ballgame, and I think it requires a lot more effort.
Is this something your forte? Is your team equipped to handle B2C, D2C of this region? Because it's honestly very dynamic and very unpredictable. People love to compare. They take the quote. They would love to go to a random jeweler. They might ask some other people as well, which is, I would say, fair practice, but it's quite happening a lot over here. Chances of closing business are actually very less as compared to other region. And I'm specifically speaking about West?
So, to be honest, like touch wood, I don't know, but most of the interactions we have with the private, we're able to convert most of them. I would say probably more than 70% we're able to convert them into from a first conversation to a sale. I don't know why that is, but I think we've built a good team to handle it. We always make sure that somebody from the senior team, either me, my partner, someone else from the senior team will handle that transaction, because it's a pretty fragile area, dealing with a private client buying a high-end piece of jewelry. You need to make sure they are dealt with in the right way. And actually, in fact, at the start of this year, we made it a goal that by end of 2027, we want 50% of our sales to be B2C. So like we've kind of shifted our business and we're already progressing towards that. So that's, I guess, a good sign.
And have you as company ever got this comment from your supplier from the B2B side that why are you taking care of both the business? Sometimes your B2B supplier is not very appreciative of your B2C business. This happens a lot when they see us in shows and they're like, okay, so you want to sell in the shows, you want to sell in the shop as well.
So basically, I think market is really evolving, and it could be in the future that one of our B2B clients says that why are you doing this also, but so far, to be honest, we've not really had that experience with them, and I think maybe we've done a good job in kind of keeping them separate as of now. But yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen or how people are going to react, but I think so far it's okay. I think our B2B and B2C is kind of running independently, and they both have their own space as of now.
You have great idea about how things used to work back then and what's working now. I'm talking about technology and ways of selling, ways of presenting. Everything is changed by 360 degree. What do you think is working now in terms of if we talk about traceability, if we talk about sustainability, how you're able to convince your client that this is what you're bringing to the table?
For sure, the customer now, they really need a story, whether it's to do with the origin or it's to do with their own personal story. They need something to connect themselves with the diamond or the jewelry. So you kind of have to hit those notes, when you're talking to the client. I think things like AI, blockchain, traceability, all these things are very important because it actually shows you where the rough diamond is from, what's happened in the manufacturing process, and then how it's been put into the final piece of jewelry. So we have to embrace that and use that technology, but also you have to make sure you use it in the right way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk, I feel, today in our industry about AI and technology and transparency, but you shouldn't just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
It has to be done in the right way. So I think you definitely have to embrace it, but in the right way. And I think you definitely have to make sure that you're really reflecting somebody's story when you're making something for them. I think those are the two key things in terms of what customers want today.
And is it tough to stand out in today's market?
100%. 100%. It's very tough to stand out. You have to keep thinking of new ways. And there's so many people doing the same thing as you, but they might have the same product or same designs, but you have to make sure that you, I guess, market yourself differently. So that's why we put so much importance on marketing, because you have to stand out. But it's very tough. It's very tough.
Shashank, just you don't get, become one of the companies amongst this large pool of suppliers in this region. What things Evara is doing differently?
The main thing we want to focus on is giving the customer a good experience, Like I think Dubai has really helped us with that, because obviously in Dubai, go to the malls or you go anywhere, you see these big brands, luxury brands doing a lot of good things. And, why can't we implement that in our own industry, So for us now, we don't really look at a transaction like we're selling a piece of jewelry, because buying a piece of jewelry is something really like important, it's valuable, and it should be an experience, Like you shouldn't just sell something to someone and give them in a box and a bag and okay, or take, this is your piece of jewelry. You need to create that experience, So from the start of when we start speaking to them, we try to create the experience by, either bringing them in, giving them virtual try-ons, whatever we can do. And even our packaging now, if you see it, when we sell a piece of jewelry, we don't just give a box and a bag.
Okay.
We give a whole experience with it.
And this is so cool. And what are you doing in terms of in area of virtual reality? It's a try-on using...
I'll say the best way to try on a diamond, a lot of people have these apps where you can scan your phone and you can see the ring on your hand, which, okay, it's not bad. But as much as we can, we try to get the person in, or we go to them, where you can actually try on the diamond on your finger.
Yeah.
The real diamond.
Okay.
Because that's how you're going to actually get the feel of it, right?
Right.
Like sometimes you feel like, okay, an oval is going to look good on my hand, but not an oval looks good on everyone's hand, Sometimes for somebody's finger, a princess might look better. So we try to get them in. We try to actually make them try it on, or we go to them. Whatever is more convenient, we do that. So you actually know that you're buying what you want.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a thought that, oh, like this celebrity is wearing this, I want to get this diamond, but it doesn't always suit everyone's fingers. So you have to just make sure you cater towards that. So we have to make sure that experience is there. And even after you've made the purchase, let's say you've decided, you need to make sure that when you receive the product, you're receiving something like substantial, because a lot of time buying a piece of jewelry is more expensive than buying a lot of other things you'd buy.
It is.
You can't just buy it like you're going to like a Zara or a H&M and buy, it has to be something unique, which I think a lot of these big brands in every industry is doing.
They're doing.
So why not do it in our own? And we're kind of trying to follow that. We follow a lot of other industries. We look at our own industry also. But I think we try to take a lot of different things from other industries and implement that, because they are in some ways doing it better than us. And in some ways, I guess we're doing it better.
They are. And everyone has to say that there's a lot of room for improvement. I sometimes imagine if someone coming from Silicon Valley and taking care of business, I'm very sure that it's gonna take off like no tomorrow. There would be a breakthrough in the industry. It would be a revolutionary time for us. I'm super verbal about all these things. You imagine really awesome engineering coming into our industry and giving some tools. AI and everything is cool, but we really need more than technology and advancement. We need new people now, honestly.
New thoughts, I think, on the industry. And like you said, I think if somebody from like a Silicon Valley or anyone from a different industry came into it, that would add a lot of value because they're looking at the industry from a whole different perspective, right? So even the whole marketing team that we've built, it's actually nobody has experience in diamonds or jewelry.
Good Lord, they did not.
Nothing.
And trust me, we're biased. Trust me. We
100%.
We are biased, super biased. In my team as well, when I hear, so my copywriters and editors are fairly they've studied mass communication and they're students of journalism.
Yeah.
And the things that they tell me, and I feel I'm a dinosaur. and now I've actually started hearing them more than giving them my idea.
Yeah, correct.
So imagine someone who has now I'm seasoned I'm well seasoned in the industry.
Yeah.
But I have a very strong notion and bias about industry and its people. If someone is selling carat and above, they do 1, 2, 3 things. If someone's selling bigger stones, they are doing 1, 2, 3 things. However, I always give them an idea of what I'm doing in this podcast or I'm talking in this podcast. But the way they come out with their own ideas is actually groundbreaking. And imagine at that level, if they can do magic, at higher level, they can actually change the look of the industry.
I think for us, that was a key factor. Because like I said, both of us, like me and my partner, both, we have been born into a diamond family. We've grown up with them. We've grown up with that. So we have our preconceived thoughts, that it should be like this.
Yeah.
So we decided that we need someone who's completely not in the industry, give us a fresh perspective. And we wanted to add more women also in the team because they also give you a different thought process, right?
They do.
And a lot of time they are the customer you're trying to reach, right? Yeah. And they have different emotions, they have different feelings on things. So that was a real conscious effort. I think it's worked out well because they honestly look at things in ways that we never thought. And we thought that, okay, we should do like this because this is how it is done in our industry, since so many years. Why would we change it? But actually doing something new is probably more valuable, So.
And do you think that new that you're trying to create will be accepted? Because our industry is not something where we can actually turn things upside down.
Yeah.
You can give very slight changes to the existing model or the norms, and then it would be perceived well. So there's a limitation as well, how much innovation you can do in our industry.
It's not like we're trying to do something completely radical, which is like a complete U-turn. So it's still in line with the industry, but we're just trying to do something a little more enhanced, I would say like I said, we want to create the experience. You have to buy, not a piece of jewelry, you have to buy the experience of it, And I think honestly, it is already starting to be accepted, and it will be because at the end of the day, customers today value experiences.
They do.
They value moments. That's what they actually care about. They don't care about the material object as much as they did about the experience,
Yes,
so I think it's already being accepted. I think it will. You have to just do it in the right way.
And I love what new campaigns of Natural Diamond and De Beers are doing.
Yeah.
There are actually some thoughtful, though late to
Finally.
the party.
After a long time,
I love what work is being done on that
Yeah,
side.
sure.
You have come long way in terms
Yeah.
of company foundation and forming a new company
Yeah.
altogether in Dubai. And do you have some thoughts, or do you have some kind of regret that it would have been much better if you had known this before?
Obviously, with experience, you learn a lot. And like I said, if I knew things I knew today, probably I'd be more efficient in the past.
And what things we're talking about?
I think just generally, I think the most important thing is that before when you're doing a business, let's say you're buying a rough diamond, buying it because you thought it was good value, then you're making the polished diamond, and then you're trying to sell it, because now I have this polished diamond. But now what we're doing is we're actually looking from the customer side first, that okay, my customers want this.
Got it.
And then we work reverse. So like if they want, let's say, a fancy shaped diamond, then we try to buy the rough, which is going to get us that shape.
Oh,
So it's kind of the reverse way, which I think is much more efficient. It makes more business sense because it's much more, I guess, predictable. Where you're just buying a rough diamond, you're just hoping that, okay, the polished diamond will come out and I'll sell it.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I'll sell this jewelry. But now it's more planned. Like we think about the customer first and then we go backwards.
interesting.
So kind of our sale is not done, I would say, but we're already a long way there in terms of our selling
Actually,
by doing it like that. So I think that's something that if I'd implemented before, probably would have been better. But okay, I mean, I guess it happens at the right
surely,
time.
but that's a really great finding.
I think, yeah, you have to today follow what the customer is doing. You have to follow data. You have to follow all these things. And I think that's really the best way to approach the business. It's not really like, otherwise you're just kind of doing a guessing game, You're seeing that, okay, I'll buy this. I'll maybe sell this here or maybe not. You're always living in uncertainty.
Yes. With with Charlene taking care of sourcing and rough mostly, you also have a good idea about the business overall. You both are also friends, right?
Yeah, correct. We are.
Do you disagree sometimes with each other?
There are disagreements for sure. There's no doubt, but I wouldn't say there's too many, to be honest, because we both have gone, like, as soon as we finished university, we both went to Surat to learn in a factory and we polished diamonds ourselves. So we know also from the rough manufacturing to the polish. So we both have learned it. But I think what we make sure is that we both keep our divisions separate. So whatever he's doing on the rough side, he does it. I don't question it. I don't get involved. Whatever I'm doing on the polished and jewelry side, I do it. He doesn't get involved. So I think that really helps. But of course, we discuss the big things. We discuss the overall vision. But on a day-to-day basis, we don't really get involved in each other's business. And even though we're in the same office, we're sitting like right next to each other almost, we don't even meet so much in the day.
Yeah.
So actually the time for disagreement happens. That's because we both are focused on our own areas, I think that really helps. It's good to have that, that separation.
That's good to know. And now I'm interested to know how your synergies are working.
Synergies, I think just basic personalities are different. I think that really helps. In terms of just like mindsets on his approach to business, my approach to business. I guess he's more risk taker, I'm more conservative. So these kind of things, he's more emotional, I'm more pragmatic. Things like that help, because it's basically two opposites, right? So it helps to balance it out. In terms of the business, again, like I said, we're two different divisions, but ultimately it's still going towards the same thing. So whenever there's a rough stone that's manufactured, ultimately it will come to me. But until the polished is made, it's under his department. Then it goes to me. So it's still, there's a lot of synergies and it does work in one kind of channel, And of course, the overall strategy is decided by both of us of how we want to approach the business.
This is good to know, Shashank. And do you think for the company, what's the way forward? Like, how do you see company growing in next 5 years?
I think going forward, the key is just to be dynamic and proactive, which we're always doing. So every month or every year, you have to keep adapting your strategy, So for us, we're doing quite a lot right now. Like I said, we want to be in 2 years' time, 50% B2C. So we're doing a lot of things to get there. And of course, it takes time. We're going to probably have a few hurdles. We're going to learn from it. But we are launching a few really cool things, especially to do with creating the experience for a customer. I can't reveal too much now because it's still in the works, but probably towards the end of the year, you'll see a lot that's going to come out from us. So yeah, I think that's mainly the main way forward is to just go towards as much as B2C as we can and just to find different ways to do that. So I think also with moving to a place like Dubai, there's so many different like cultures, so many different people you meet from different backgrounds. So I think that has also helped us to adapt to certain things and see things in a different way. So I guess we're just using all those things that we've learned and trying to create that way forward, So also I think that, just looking at other industries, especially if you see, like, let's say, my wife or we speak to friends in our group, everyone is just crazy about buying like a Birkin or a bag like that. And you're paying a huge amount of money for it. and still you're waiting in line and like praying that you'll get one, Whereas a diamond is also as luxurious, maybe more, but they've just created that whole image of it. So we should also be trying to create that, with ours, that a diamond, if somebody wants to buy an Evara diamond or Evara piece of jewelry, they should want it. And actually, which was one of the best things for us, which happened last year, was something really cool, is a customer from Brazil who we'd never met had reached out to us. We got on a call, and within the first 5 minutes, she said, I don't know, I was just looking online and I told my husband, I just need a Evara diamond, which was unbelievable because we'd never met this person.
Yeah.
We've never even promoted ourselves to her, but she just seen us somewhere online. And I guess she liked what we represented and she wanted that, So we have to kind of create that,
Your
that
Instagram
image,
is Instagramming.
Yeah. Instagram, SEO, all these things, that
Yeah.
we worked on. And we have to kind of create that image, like we need to make sure diamonds are seen as that big luxury, as something that is super unique, super memorable. Like what a Birkin is, a diamond should also be that, or a piece of jewelry should be that, because it is something emotional, expensive. So we have to try to get to that level.
I do want to see those changes to be, introduced by Evara and by yourself. And I'm here waiting for that.
Yeah, you'll see it for sure. I think towards the end of the year, you'll see a lot. We're working really hard on it. And I think, hopefully.
Would you be also opting for any pop-ups, or are you planning to exhibit in any of the shows?
Yeah, so honestly, we have looked at a lot of pop-ups, trunk shows. We don't want to do the traditional fairs that everyone does because there's nothing different about that. So in fact, we've looking a lot into pop-ups, and not only pop-ups with our industry. We're also looking at pop-ups which have sell things like clothes or any other kind of luxury bags or any other luxury product. Because diamonds don't have to be just sold in a diamond show or a jewelry show. It can be sold anywhere, right? So we're looking at that because online is one thing, but okay, you have to support it with some kind of offline presence. You have to be physically in front of people because a human touch is always nice.
And it makes more sense.
So we've looked at a lot of that, and that will come out for sure in the next. It's part of the things that we're planning to do in the next 6 months or so. So for sure, we're planning to do that.
I'm already loving the vision of Evara and what you just told on this podcast. What do you think, Shashank, would be your ultimate message to the listeners of the Jewellery Pod?
I think the main thing is, at least with our industry, or if you're a consumer of a product, just make sure that you're liking what you are buying and you're comfortable with buying it. A lot of people push you to buy certain things or try to promote something to you. But inside, you have to have a good feeling about it. If you're making such an expensive purchase, just make sure you're having the right experience and make sure you're buying a product that you're going to love forever, because a diamond is forever. So you need to make sure that you can wear it for years and years to come. So I think that's the main thing, because I guess most industries, a lot of people in our industry will also push you towards a certain way. But you have to just make sure you're doing something which you actually like also, and you're comfortable with doing it, which is kind of, I guess, what we try to do when anyone approaches us. Just be comfortable,
Thank you for sharing that, Shashank. It was great having you on the Jewellery Pod.
Thanks.
It was great conversation, very future forward. I love what your company as initiatives are taking, and it's actually showing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having us. Thanks so much.
Pleasure's ours. Thank you for sticking for this podcast. I do believe that it gave you some insights about how a company cannot be starting from the same region but can still do wonders. Evara is one of them. I loved speaking with Shashank on this topic. This podcast will also be across 7 other platforms. The details are in the description. Please do follow. Let us know what you would love to hear in next podcast. I'll make sure to bring it in next episode. Till we meet again, thank you.